Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about breather hoses. So in particular, these little devices that are at the end of the tubes, and they're meant to protect, for example, your differentials from water getting in when you're going on, let's say, a river crossing or water crossings. And a lot of people, even people who put snorkels on their Jeeps for doing deep water crossings, neglect to relocate these breather devices. And actually there's 4 of them. And some aren't even really breather devices. Like, for example, this one came off of the transmission hose. And even though it's pretty high up normally, as you can see, there's a lot of dirt. If you're driving a lot off-road in a dusty condition, that kind of stuff, dirt can get in your transmission. And obviously, you don't want that. And actually, Jeep uses different devices. So like this one is from the front diff. And it's a very simple device. And we'll get into details why this will not protect you from water or dust. And then we have these two, which this one is off of the transfer case. And literally, this is the length of the hose that's on your transfer case. So it's basically sitting right on top of your transfer case. And this is from your rear differential. And we'll go in details of what each one does, how it's made up, who makes them, and all that stuff, and what's the best way to replace them. We're going to use these devices, and I'll go into detail later on them. In the meantime, I'll show you the final product here. So if you notice here, I've already relocated them, transfer case, front differential, and rear differential. And this is for the transmission right over here. All right, guys, just a quick message before we go on. If you got anything out of this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and let's get back into it. All right, let's talk about why we need the vents anyway. So here's a picture of our axle and our differential. And so what happens is when you turn on the car and these gears start moving, the heat builds up really quickly. And so everything expands. The fluid expands, the air expands, and there's a lot of pressure that builds up. And that needs to be released somehow. And the way you do it is like in the front differential, you have a hose that comes out here. On the rear, I think that's on the axle. And so that basically allows that pressure to be released out. Now, if you don't release that pressure, what's going to happen is you have seals all different kinds of places. But typically on Dana 44, I think my seals, inner seals are here. You may have it here on the hub. You may have it here on the pinion. You have seals all over the place. That's going to stress all these seals, all the different components on the axle. It's not good. I got a water bottle here, empty water bottle that represents the differential. I've used some saran wrap and put it here on top of the bottle. I enclosed it with these rubber bands. And then I'm going to heat up this differential or the water bottle and see what happens.
Where's all my pots and pans?
Well, he asked me to learn how to cook, so I'm doing it, Jeep style. That internal pressure is trying to escape and it's pushing out on this up top here with the saran wrap raising. I've drilled a hole in the bottle cap and put a tube in it, and let's see what happens when we take it out of the hot water here and suddenly put it in a cold water simulating like a river crossing.
Where's the soy sauce?
So I'm just going to put some soy sauce in here just to give it some color. I'm going to put this water bottle back in the hot water. And I'm going to put it in the cold water, and let's see what happens when we do that. The bottle representing our differential. And you see it right there. Everything contracts, and so it pulls in the water from your river crossing, whatever you're in, right into your axle, tubes, and differential. Now you have water in your diff fluid, which is not good. These breather devices are all out of my 24 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon X. The one on bottom left comes from the hose which is connected to my front differential. And that's the one that we're going to look at first. Okay, let's take a look. This plastic cap is nothing more than a stem with a floating dust cap. Let's take a closer look. This cap basically moves up and down. As pressure builds up inside the differential, it pushes against the breather cap. When the pressure gets high enough, the cap lifts slightly, allowing air to escape through the gap. But when the differential cools down, like during a water crossing, the air inside contracts, pulling the cap back down. Unfortunately, that doesn't last long. Just don't ask me how I know. As the diff heats up again from working under load, the cap lifts once more. And if it's submerged, water can get sucked right in. The other thing working against you is fluid dynamics. Let's break it down step by step. First, take a look at where the front diff breather is located. It's not the best spot. Okay, now that I've taken the fender off, you can really see the breather hose, and it ends right here. So that's it right there. Now in the next clip, watch how the water moves and circulates up and over as the tires push through. And imagine being on a trail like Tin Cup Pass in Colorado, where those water crossings go on for a long time. That's when this really starts to matter. Think of the water as it pushes through front and back, pushing the cap up and letting water in. The next device shown here in the top left corner is mounted on the transmission. There's not much going on with this one. It's just a simple breather cap with a small gap that lets the system vent pressure. Now moving to the two on the right. These belong to the rear differential and transfer case. They're higher quality breathers made by a company called Gore. They work well overall, but they've got a few design flaws worth pointing out. The Gore vent uses a two-layer design. On top, there is an expanded PTFE membrane. That's the part that keeps out the water. Underneath, there is a non-woven pre-filter that catches oil mist, dust, and debris before they reach the membrane. It's a clever setup. The pre-filter helps extend the life of the membrane, but there is a trade-off. The filter can clog over time, and once that happens, airflow slows down or even stops, and the vent can't equalize pressure properly. And here's the proof that oil vapor really does make it all the way to the top. Just take a look at the transmission breather cap. See that oily residue? That's exactly what ends up coating these filters and reducing their effectiveness. Gore also specifies that these vents should be mounted vertically and no more than 60 degrees off vertical. But if you look at the factory installation, Jeep mounted it completely horizontal or 90 degrees. The hose length might offset that slightly, but Jeep still isn't following the manufacturer's own recommendation here. So that brings us to what I replaced them with, these sintered bronze vents. Unlike the Gore design, there is no membrane here. It's just a finely porous bronze filter. Think of it as millions of tiny air channels fused together. That means it can breathe continuously. Air moves in and out all the time without needing to lift a cap or push through a film. In terms of airflow, these move a lot more air than a membrane vent. Even at very low pressure changes, just a few millibars, air passes freely, allowing the differential transfer case to equalize pressure almost instantly. Our differential needs roughly 60 liters per hour of airflow during rapid hot to cold transitions, with an absolute minimum of around 20. For comparison, the Gore is rated at about 64 liters per hour, but that's measured at 1 psi of pressure. Add hose length and bends and the effective flow rate drops even more. Most JKs and JLs use a 1/4-inch hose on the rear diff, while my 24 Rubicon X uses a 5/16 inch. Jeep likely increased that size to improve breathing performance, especially under higher temps and loads from towing or off-roading. A typical 1/4-inch sintered bronze vent under the same conditions can flow over 2,000 liters per hour. That's not just better, that's an entirely different level. Now you can buy a vent that's always open. ARB sells a kit based on the same principle they use for their air compressors. But these sintered bronze filters cost far less, flow better, and were hand-picked specifically to address the weak points in Jeep's stock breather design. Another big advantage, they're self-cleaning, at least to a point. There is no fabric or membrane to saturate, and even if they pick up a light film of oil, they still pass air through the pores. You can rinse them, dry them, and reuse them without losing performance. And because they're always open, there is no delay when pressure changes. No vacuum pulling water in during a cold water crossing, and no overpressure pushing oil past seals when things heat up. So in short, it's simple, rugged, and built for the kind of conditions we actually drive in: dust, heat, water, and everything in between. Now let's talk about something just as important as the vent itself, and that's the hose. A breather system is only as good as the hose that connects it. It doesn't matter if you've got the best vent in the world. If your hose traps moisture or chokes airflow, the system still can't breathe right. Here are some guidelines to follow. Keep the lines as short as possible with a steady uphill run from the differential all the way to the vent. Any dips or low spots can act like U-traps, holding moisture and blocking airflow. For hose size, that depends on how long your run is. Under about 8 feet, a quarter-inch line works fine. That's roughly what the factory uses. From 8 to 15 feet, bump to 5/16 inch. That gives you better flow and faster pressure equalization. For longer runs, like mine at around 20 feet, go with 3/8 inch. That keeps restrictions super low even if the line isn't perfectly straight. And if you're running a manifold setup or something else that ties multiple breathers together, or routing all the way up to a snorkel, step up to 1/2 inch. The key is that the system can move at least 60 liters per hour without building back pressure. That's what it takes to keep up with expansion and contraction during real-world heat cycles and water crossings. And one more thing, make sure your vent sits higher than any possible water line. For the rear differential, inside the tail light pocket is probably the best location. For everything else, under the hood, inside, near firewall, high up is the best location. Zip tie the hose along the frame so it can't sag into a U shape later on. Do that and your diff will always be able to breathe. No trap moisture, no pressure spikes, no seal leaks. Simple, reliable, and ready for anything you throw at it. Okay guys, that's it for this video. In the next video, I'll go over all the parts and tools you'll need and show you exactly how I route the hoses and mount each vent for the cleanest, most effective setup possible. And as always, if you've had your own experiences with diff or breather issues, drop them in the comments. I always enjoy hearing what others have run into out on the trail. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or want to see more content like it, please consider subscribing and give a thumbs up. If you have any ideas or comments about what you want to see in the future, please comment below, and I'll see you on the next one.